No. Those types of intros are cool and all, but what value is it providing? Let's do more storytelling for the people. From the top. Is the monitor arm by AVLT the best monitor arm for cable management, and should you use this arm for your ultrawide monitors? According to the reviews on the Amazon listing, 78% of buyers are satisfied with their purchase. So let's figure out what this monitor arm has to offer and if I agree with the 78% of you that label this as a 5-star monitor arm. Let's keep it real. If you're watching this video, then you need a monitor arm that is strong, thick, and just the right length.
Hey, yo, nah. What did he just say?
I'm just talking about the AVLT monitor arm. I'm not sure what you all are thinking, but let's make sure we're on the same page here. Two things jumped out at me when I unboxed everything. First, I'm impressed by the quality of the parts. I mean, after all, this was $140, so it needs to be quality for you guys. To be specific, the base is made out of high quality aluminum and heavy duty steel. The second thing that impressed me was the cords that came with it. There are two USB 3.0 ports and two auxiliary cables that are easily accessible at the base of the monitor arm. Now, a question I should touch on that came from the W Gang is, what desk thickness does this monitor arm support? You can see that I'm going to use the top 4 holes because the thickness of my desk is on the smaller side. If my desk were thicker, then I would use the 4 bottom holes to give myself more space to clamp on. But to answer the question, the C-clamp design supports 0.4 to 3.3 inches, while the grommet option supports desk thickness up to 1.8 inches. During the assembly, one thing surprised me. I felt like the aluminum plate should be better secured on the bolts before I clamp it to the desk, but then again, I'm not sure how that can be done while also providing flexibility, so I digress. Once it's matched up to the thickness of my desk, it shouldn't matter. By the way, one tip about the monitor arms. Don't get curious and put your fingers inside any of the holes. It has grease lubricant inside to help the arm move smoothly, and you don't want that on your fingers. What? I just felt like that was important to share because I made that mistake when unboxing it off the camera. Anyway, you guys don't need assembly instructions since this is very straightforward and the instructions are very clear, so I won't give you any. What I will say is the lower arm was fairly simple to attach to the monitor base. Just apply a little pressure and it will connect. Additionally, make sure you're using the screws to prevent the arm from lifting out of the base. I like that the base arm doesn't have the 360-degree swivel because if you set it up against the wall, the last thing you want to do is accidentally swivel it into the wall and create a dent. When assembling the top arm, that was fairly simple as well. Slide it in place and screw that down. Now, this arm does have the 360-degree rotation, but I already know I won't take full advantage of that, but it's a nice to have. Another feature is the gas spring tension adjustment allows me to adjust the tension if the arm ever droops on me. Now let's talk about the VESA plate that provides 75 by 75 and 100 by 100 millimeter support. AVLT was right that attaching the VESA plate to the arm is simple. Just pull back on the tab and slide the VESA plate in, and do the same when removing the plate from the arm. No sweat indeed. You can see how I moved the VESA plate up and down, rotate it, and move the plate left to right. Getting back on track, I think this is a good opportunity to unbox the LG 34GP83A-B 34-inch curved ultra-wide monitor. This video isn't about this monitor, but I think it's fair to reference what I'm installing because after all, the AVLT monitor arm does support ultrawides and this is a pretty popular monitor. Another common question I've noticed is, what type of VESA mount does the LG monitor support? You can see that the 100 by 100 millimeter option is the only option for this monitor, so that's what I have to go with. Notice that I took the screws that were already in the monitor and replaced them with the screws that came with the monitor arm. That's because AVLT screws are longer to accommodate the thickness of the plate, the washer, and being able to screw into the monitor. For the VESA plate install, the main thing not to do is over tighten the screws into the monitor. AVLT points this out in their instruction. As far as the monitor and the VESA plate holder, I did struggle a little bit. As you can see, the monitor immediately drooped down, but don't worry, this is where I use the Allen key to increase the tension, and after doing so, you can see how the monitor arm kept the weight of the monitor in place. By the way, this monitor arm weighs approximately 16 pounds. As another example, to put the monitor arm in a position between the highest point and the bottom, the tension had to be adjusted. This is easily done by using the Allen key to make the adjustments, and as you can see, I'm able to get the monitor to stay in a new position. I'm not gonna lie, I was unjustifiably a little nervous that the monitor arm would randomly drop down, but it didn't. Once again, you can also see how the AVLT connection allows the monitor to be rotated to landscape mode. I won't be using this monitor in landscape, but I just wanted to point that out again. Regarding what cables came with the LG Ultrawide, there's a power cable and a 5K display cable. Side note, I'm disappointed by the length of this display cable because it's not long enough to feed down this monitor arm and reach my tower. As a result, I bought an 8K display cable from Amazon, but that's neither here nor there for this video. Be sure to check out my cable management video instead. Now, here's the part where I slightly struggled. There's one black cover on each arm where you can manage your wires. The top arm has one screw that needs to be removed while the bottom has two. Once the cover is removed, you can see how I connected and fed my wires through the cover and connected the cover back to the monitor arm. I say I struggled because I'm not that good at screwing upside down, so maybe I should have done this before I installed the monitor arm. In any case, the final result looks really good. You can see how I pull the cables out to give them more flexibility for rotating the monitor. And you know what? If you follow along with me in the link below, I now see why 78% of reviewers on Amazon are in love with this monitor arm. In fact, it's very helpful how reviewers attach pictures showing their monitor arm and the monitor they're using. I've been trying to think of possible negatives about this AVLT monitor arm, but honestly, I can't think of one. If I'm being really picky, I would prefer for the cable management covers to be flexible but rigid plastic that allows me to easily remove cables without having to screw a cover on. Because as I previously said, I will have to unscrew these covers to put the longer display cable in when it arrives. So far, this is the best monitor arm that I own, and if you want to see the cable management of this renovated setup, check out this video. If the cable management video isn't available, here's a different video of mine I think you will enjoy next. Thank you AVLT for sending this monitor arm over for my unboxing and initial impression.